Hello and welcome. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. You are listening to And Another Thing. We are Joella and Helen, and this is episode 14. Said it right round the house today. Last week, stuffed it up. Hadn't done it for 3 weeks. Forgot what I did in the order I did it in. This week, I was like, nailed it. Although I did have it in my brain. It was like, you have to say this and then that afterwards.
People are very happy that the hours are back.
Yes, they are very happy that the hour is back, which is great because it makes us happy.
Yes, it does make us happy because Amy said, when's the next hour one?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, it's okay. It's on Friday. And then Amanda at work was like, when I'm working, I'm so disappointed when it's not an hour because I think I've done an hour's worth of work and then I've not. So
and it's only 30 minutes
yeah,
because she's listened to an older one.
Exactly.
So
Amanda, you've got another hour, so get back to work.
Yeah, for everybody that listens to us as they're travelling to work, welcome to your hour-long travel into or from work. We hope that you enjoy your day or enjoy your drive home.
Whatever it may be.
Whatever it may be.
So this is a quick turnaround because I feel like we just did the last one because we recorded on a Sunday and then poof, hits here. This is a Thursday, which is our normal recording night. So it's been quick. So I was going to ask you how your week was, but it's like, for me.
We also haven't seen each other a lot this week.
No, true.
At all. You've been at work, and I've been at work.
Work. We work with each other on Monday.
Away work. What do we do? Oh, we work together.
Yeah. But then you've been organising, we have a staff day out every year and we close for the day and we take all of the staff, all of the ones that can come, obviously, out for the day. And for the last few years, you've done an amazing race.
In different locations.
Yeah.
So this staff day is happening in about 2.5 weeks. And I had a rough idea of what I was going to do before I left. But now that I've come back, I've had to take that rough idea in the next 2.5 weeks. I need to finalise everything. And it's not just, like a scavenger hunt or anything like that. I think I do a pretty dang good job of our amazing race. And it's such a fun time. I really enjoy it. It gets my creative juices flowing. The staff don't know where the location is this time, so I'm not going to say where it is just yet.
Oh.
Because
I didn't know that was a secret, and I think some people might know.
That's okay. Some people don't know.
Okay.
We haven't explicitly told.
No, we haven't.
Well, clearly people have been told, but
yeah,
it hasn't been. It hasn't been an overtly told one. So I'm not going to say it on here. But if you're staff and you're listening, you're just going to have to wait. Or if you already know where it is, tell somebody else. Let the rumour rolls flow. The rumour mills. Let the rumour mills flow. That's what it is.
Is it? Okay, I've never heard. Rumour mill. Yeah, rumour mill. You're right.
I said rumour rolls.
Oh, okay. Anyway, it's a great day.
It is a great day. All that to say, I've been on location to the place that we are going to do this and scouting it out. And I usually walk around and take pictures of things and spark creative ideas and things like that. So really hope it doesn't rain this year because everything is outside.
It did rain a bit last year.
But it still worked.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're just going to have to wear a poncho or something.
Yeah. People are just going to get wet.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Take your brolly. And we can't change the day. The day is what it is because that's just it.
And I don't have an alternative situation.
No.
So it is just going to be what it is. But anyway, that's what I've been doing this week and why I haven't really been around. I've been doing some funner kind of things. Anyway, so that's why I haven't been in work.
Yeah, I wasn't even sure if I would see you today, and then in you came this morning.
Yes, so. I had all of my scouting that I did, and I had all the ideas starting to spark. So I sat down at the cafe today and wrote them all out.
Until it got very noisy.
So noisy.
So many mum groups in today.
Thursdays seem to be mums and babies day.
Yeah,
have you noticed that? Thursdays, always mums and babies.
Maybe it is always Thursdays. Yes, I am normally in for Mums and Babies Day. And then they were always like, you'll pick something up off the floor like a grape or a blueberry. And they're like, it's okay, I'll get that later. And you're like, what, after I've broken my neck on this blueberry that's in the middle of the floor or somebody's fallen over?
And let's be honest, you won't get it later because you're going to be packing up all of your stuff thinking, have I got my phone? Have I got my wallet? Have I got my baby? Have I got my wipes? Have I got my bag? Yes, I think I've got everything. You have not been thinking about that grape that's sitting underneath the table.
Yeah.
Have you? No, you haven't.
Some people do clean up. We don't really expect it, but it's kind of nice when they do. But it's when the kid throws a piece of fruit that's like a little bit further away from the table, and then you're busy running food, or Dorothy's coming in and you're like, oh my God, I've got to clear this blueberry or this grape.
Dorothy's going to slip on that grape
She's going to
and crack
slip,
her neck.
and then we're going to be in trouble, and the kids are having a whale of a time. And there's some families that you see come in and you're like, oh my goodness, we used to have messy muffin family. Now those kids are in school, so we don't have messy muffin family anymore. But some of them you just know that there's going to be a huge mess. But,
It is what it is. The minute they leave, we get our brush and shovel, broom and... Do you call it a brush and shovel?
No, a shovel is what you'd use outside.
Yes, it is, but I also call it a brush and shovel.
Dustpan and brush.
A dustpan and brush. What do they call it here? Dustpan and brush?
I think so, because that's called a dustpan. I think so.
Okay.
Anyway, do you want to know what's happened to me this week?
Yes.
So I follow somebody on Instagram. His name is Jamie Harkin. He's Jamie Harkin 1 on Instagram. He popped up on my Instagram a year ago, although I think his Instagram account is older than that, because he just moved to Canada. I don't know why it popped up. He was from Ireland. He is from Ireland, and he had some, issues in his life, and he just put an ocean between him and his problems and tried to start again over here. So on and off throughout the year, I've seen what he's up to. But just recently, something really caught my attention because his family has come over from Ireland for the first time and spent 2 weeks with him. And the excitement and the joy of seeing his family with him and he's showing them exactly where he lives and all of the sites and the supermarket that he goes to, and his sister went to the gym with him, and they've done the Niagara and all of the stuff. And as I was following it, I could feel the excitement when they'd arrived, and then they were only here for 2 weeks, so it must have been the quickest 2 weeks. And then towards the end, they're still trying to fill it with all these memories, but they had this heaviness because they knew that they were leaving, and Jamie knew that his family were going. And it reminded me of when I first came here. And my mum came over for Christmas, and I think it was about 6 weeks, had the best Christmas. And then the closer you get towards the time when they're going, you still try and be normal and carry on normal, but there is this heaviness because you know that in 2 days they're going. And then
come to an end.
You've got, even though you've still got your family and stuff with you, there's this silence because that person has gone. And I just really felt for him, and I've been, every day I was like, wonder what they've done today. Like I was on the same page as him for ages. So because I get really emotional when my family members go home. It's gotten better, and my family make it really quick. We're all really quick now.
With your goodbyes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I give, my mum and dad an extra little hug, and my sister, but it's always like, okay, see you later, bye. And then you've just got to go. And I go to the airport by myself because the airport goodbyes are the worst. When I'm dropping my mum off at the airport and say goodbye, it's just, I want to make sure she's got all the way through. So I'm doing that whole waving bit until I can't see her anymore. And it's just awful. I could tear up now thinking about it. Yeah, so I followed him all this week, and I could feel those feels. And when I get on the plane and I'm leaving England, I also have that same homesick feeling as I'm leaving. And I was going to ask you, because you've just been to New Zealand, do you have that same feeling when you get on the plane and come home that you're leaving somewhere that's very familiar and coming back to Canada?
Yes and no. I don't think I have the emotional pull that you probably have experienced for many different reasons. But I will say that every time I say goodbye to my grandparents, that one always pulls at me because I have 3 grandparents that are currently still alive, and they're between the ages of 89 and 92, and all of them are doing phenomenally well and could probably live for another 10 years, but you just never know.
No.
And so that one is what always pulls at me. I always drive. I just hug them and I leave, and it's a 4-hour drive back to wherever I'm going. That one kind of just sits with me.
Oh, yeah.
And also because I remember there was one time, not long after me coming to Canada, and you said to me, you learn pretty quickly what you're willing to go home for. And I don't think I was like, oh, yeah, sure. And then the more that I've lived here, the more that I've realised, oh, yeah, you learn pretty quickly what you are going to spend $2,500 to fly home for on a quick visit. And a quick visit for me is a 24-hour flight there and back for $2,500 roughly. And then what are you willing to do that for?
Yeah.
So that's something that really hits me. There are a couple of people, when I say goodbye to them, that also pulls at my heartstrings because I don't know when I'm actually going to see them face to face again, and it's probably not going to be until the next time I see them or even talk to them. It won't be until I see them in New Zealand again. But I don't know if it's a good thing, but I kind of just compartmentalize everything and put it in a box and say, hey, I'll see you next time I see you in New Zealand. So I don't know, maybe that's just my coping mechanisms, but...
Yeah, it could be. I've always been like that. Super emotional from being a kid. So nobody can expect anything less from me. And when we said goodbye to Lottie, one of my best friends from England, Kerry, her daughter Lottie and my daughter, Amy, have become really great friends.
Even though they grew up in different countries.
Yeah, it's just so amazing that that's happened.
Yeah.
And Lottie came to stay with us a couple of summers ago, and it was great. And when we said goodbye to her at the airport, I said, you do know I'm going to cry. And she's like, okay. Like, I don't think she'd experienced quite when we went, bye, Lottie. But yeah, I always think it's the airport environment too. Like, unless you're saying hi to somebody, it's just always, even when you watch people saying goodbye to someone, I'm like, oh, that's sad. I can't watch those those shows about, there's a show on TV about Heathrow Airport and the hellos and goodbyes. I always cry.
You can't watch them?
Well, I can, but I will cry.
Yeah. I do enjoy those shows. I'm more of the image of Bilbo Baggins is in the first Hobbit movie when he's running out of Hobbiton because he's finally accepted the fact that he's going to go with the dwarves and with Gandalf on the adventure. He's got his map in his hand and he's got his backpack on his back and he runs out of Hobbiton and he's saying, I'm off on an adventure. And honestly, every time I'm at an airport, that's what I feel like.
You feel like it is an
I
adventure.
feel like I'm off on an adventure. And whether that's me coming back to Canada, whether that's me coming back to New Zealand, or whether that's me going anywhere else. And again, maybe it's just my coping mechanism of saying goodbye to people. But I'm like, okay, bye. I'm going to go off on my adventure now. You can carry on waving at me and I'll wave back, but I'm going. And yeah, I genuinely, like, if I actually stopped and thought about it, I'd probably hit me a bit more harder, which is probably why I just don't think about it.
Yeah, maybe.
I pack it up in a box and I put it to the side and I carry on.
I have a hard time I cry when I leave here to go to England sometimes. Like, oh, what am I doing? Now I'm going on an adventure to see the people that I've missed, but I've all got emotional before I've left, especially during COVID times, because I was like, what happens if it gets messed up and I can't get back? And anyway, all that to be said about just an emotional person. But I have a hard time leaving. When I get back here, I have a hard time adjusting quickly back into this life. Not from the jet lag, not from any of that, but just being like, okay, this is life again now. This is normal life. This is not me visiting life. Does that make sense?
That's been me this week.
Right.
And that for me isn't about the sadness of saying goodbye. That's just me realizing that this is my life and I have to live it.
Yeah.
And so part of me is just like, oh, okay, I guess this is my life and I have to live it. And there's nothing wrong with my life. And that's not what I'm saying. It's just, I wonder if when you've moved away from a country, it's hard to explain. And I said, I talked to one of my nieces who went to New Zealand for 7 months, and I said to her while she was over there, she said, I don't even know how I can say goodbye to these people. And I said, well, you've now become a person of two worlds, and you don't ever actually glue those two worlds ever together again, because you're two halves of two different places and two different lots of people and two different sets of lives. And you become that person again when I'm in New Zealand, when you're in the UK, when you come back here, you become the Canada person. And they're very different realities because they just are. It's different cultures, it's different lands, it's different experiences. You can't be the same version.
Can I just ask, so when I come back here, sometimes I'm like, okay, this is life. Now I've got to do work, I've got to do this, got to do that. But when I fly the other way, I don't have that same feeling. I just slot straight back in.
100%.
Yeah. When really you should slot straight back in
to this life,
which you do, but I'm still maybe it's because there's work involved and it's just the general day-to-day stuff. And then when you're over there visiting, it's much more lighthearted when you're a visitor. So then you come back and you've got laundry and vacuuming and clearing up. So maybe that's
The weight
what
of
you
your
don't
own
want to slot back
responsibility of
into.
life, hits you a bit more.
But you've also commented on about how people have moved to different countries. Like Jamie's come to Canada to, find himself and sort his life out. And social media makes it look like it's all wonderful and this person's moved to Australia and they're never coming back and it's all amazing. But from the reality and from knowing you, it's not always all amazing. So social media will often make it look like that. But you haven't come here and thought, oh, this is the most amazing place ever.
No. So I agree with what you're saying, because social media, it does present this platform for saying, this is the golden trophy that I found. And it's not just for Canada. It's like I follow, or I've seen people who have said, I've moved to New Zealand 3 years ago and I thought it was going to be the scariest thing, and I've come to this new life and it's been amazing, and it's like the holy grail
and
of
it
my
might well
solution.
be for some people.
And it might well be for some people. But I think realistically, who puts all this shit up on social media? And then also, why would you want to see someone else's shit on most social media? It's not what you go on there for. Let's be honest. If you wanted someone else's shit, you just watch the news every time.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
You don't, if you're really honest with yourself, you don't go on to anything of a social media platform where you see someone else's life to see all the bad parts. You see all the good parts.
I don't know if that's completely true, because sometimes on social media I will follow somebody because I want to see, they might have been at a bad point and I want to see them have come out of it. You know what I mean? So sometimes people are quite raw on social media, but
Okay, so I'll rephrase it and just say,
well, you know what I mean,
the most part.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to discredit what you were saying. I'm just saying that sometimes there are stories on there that are quite raw, and then I'm like, oh, I wonder, like, did that improve for them? And I think they kind of grab you with it.
Yeah, and there's no disingenuousness in those people either.
No.
That's not also what I'm saying. It's just don't get caught up in the reality that moving a country is the best thing out
It's
there.
hard work to make new friends, to everything.
Some people, it is exactly what they need, and they're able to turn their lives around, and they're able to go into the new land and the promised land, and it is everything that they wanted, and it's great that that's their experience. No, it wasn't my experience. I arrived and 6 months later, COVID hit. And then I spent the next 2 years in my little tiny apartment by myself and hated every single moment of it. But also, I moved here, and 2 days after being in Canada, I cried myself to sleep thinking, what the hell have I done with my life?
Yeah.
But that's just because, as much as I've built the connections that I have with my family, I hadn't seen my sister in 6 years. I'd never met her youngest, who's now 10 years old. The last time I saw the next one, like her fourth baby, was when he was a baby. So it's like I literally was just coming to these people I didn't really know, even though we were family. And we've built what we have now, and I love it.
Yes.
And that's why I've stayed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was probably about 3 years worth of no community, no friends.
Oh, I have to say you worked very hard at that. You should be very proud of yourself for what you've achieved and the community of people that you now have around you, because without your hard work and determination to make that work, you wouldn't have it. So I think that you've done outstanding to create that for yourself.
So then that was my experience. What about you when you came to this country?
It was slightly...
with different scenarios and realities too. Like I just came by myself. I think we've spoken
about this before, that I had family here already.
Scott's family though, not your family.
Not my family, yeah. I honestly didn't... I lived 4 hours away from where my mum and sister lived at the time of moving. I think if I'd lived around the corner and saw them every day, I think that decision would have been much more difficult. But Scott was approached to come and run a restaurant over here, and we decided to say yes. The kids were young enough that we could turn around and go back. Not that we would have been able to be fair, because of, like when you transfer your money and transfer it back. So Scott was Canadian and the kids were, so we just had to apply for me. And honestly, when I came over, it was like a big adventure.
Right.
And the school that the kids went to was a school where lots of mums would pick up their children. We had just started to make some connections in the first place that we lived, and been to, like one of the other parents' houses, and we were just starting to get in there a bit, and then we moved.
Right.
And then moving to where we are now was way harder. Like, it was still an adventure, but the town that we lived in, there was a sense of community. Mm-hmm. And the town that we are now in, our neighborhood is a sense of community.
Right.
But it's not outside
the township
of that.
itself is not.
No. So I have friends. They're mainly the neighbors and yourself and people at work. Mm-hmm. And I think that if we had stayed where we were, I think it would have been a much greater group of friends. So I think it depends where you go. And I don't put myself out there, to be honest, to find new friends. Most of the friends that I still talk to are in England. So I don't know. I think I've gone off the subject that you asked me. But I think it was easier for me coming here.
Right.
And then I had the kids. So that's also a little bit easier to go and have adventures and frequent visits from my family. So,
but the harder process for you would have been moving from the initial townhood into the town that you currently live now, because that would have been probably more of the shift in terms of what you would have lost.
Yeah,
and the harder reality to find your people.
Yes, exactly. And where I moved from, I had like two close friends, Danny and Lauren, and their kids are the same age, and that area where we lived was quite a little community, actually. There was little cafes, and I knew a lot of the parents from when the kids first went to school. So I think that would have just continued.
Mm-hmm. In the UK or here?
In the UK.
Right.
So then I left that and was trying to find my people, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then we moved again. Yeah, just never really happened. It's quite hard to make friends the older you are because people have their little friendships already, Mm-hmm. So I don't mind being by myself. Also, like, people ask me to go out and I'll be like, oh, God, do I have to? I need to make more of an effort. But I think that most of the people that I'm friends with are at the same stage anyway. We have to force ourselves to do something. But when we do it, we enjoy it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, most of the time we're just like...
Can't be bothered.
Yeah. We spoke about this for a long time. But obviously they're quite passionate about it, I think. That's why. We've never really spoken about it either, so.
We haven't really talked much about our experience of moving countries and what it was like when we actually landed. Mm-hmm. And we kind of covered the briefest amount here just to say that, one, our experiences were very different. Mm-hmm. We process our own emotions in different ways. I think we're both very deep feelers, but yours comes out in tears and mine just doesn't come out at all.
Mine does all the time, which I don't. Sometimes I curse myself. I think, oh, for God's sake. Like when I'm trying to express myself or I'm a bit angry, I'll still cry. Or I'll watch an advert on telly and I'll be like, oh, why? It's a commercial. Sort your shit out, Helen. I
Margaret.
do think it's still a good idea for it to come out in some shape or form. But for you holding it in, one day you're just going to go, poof.
Yeah, I do it in my own space and my own time when no one else is around.
Emotions.
Yeah, and then also it sounds like even for us coming here, different life stages, but also for you it was initially an adventure. For me, there was a part of adventure for it. I still can't believe that I did it. I just packed up my life and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come to Canada. And then I came and I thought, what the fuck have I done? And now I'm here.
Well, I was in my 30s when I came, late 30s.
I was in my early 30s when I first came. So, similar stages of age.
Yeah.
But
I like the freedom. I like the open spaces. And when you go back home, for me, sometimes it's quaint, but sometimes you're like, oh, it feels very small again.
And that's not a good thing for you?
Little roads. And I could get used to it. I said from the last time I came back, I could live there again, but does feel like there isn't any space. Well, there isn't. You can't. All of the towns that used to be separated by fields and getting closer and closer together, like it's just so much of the green space in the south is just being taken up with houses and that sort of stuff. There's obviously a lot more green space the further up north you go. Mm-hmm. But
and the houses are quite small there too, right?
Yeah.
So then that probably feels like a sense of confinement.
Yeah. That's it. That's all I got on that. Have you got any more to add?
Nope. But I think it's probably time for a sip of
It is.
our
I've got
hot
my
beverage.
hand on my cup. I'm ready
can see
for
that.
a sip of my tea.
So we will be back.
Okay.
And we're back. We've taken our sips of our respective drinks. I had coffee this time.
Oh, did you?
You had tea.
I had tea.
Yes.
Yep.
Alrighty. So we walked down memory lane a little bit just then. And I'm going to walk us down memory lane a little bit further.
My God, hope I can remember.
And this is a question for our listeners to kind of get a little bit more of an introduction to how we started our customer service stage.
Okay.
This was really, really bad wording on my part. Sorry, everybody. Hey, Helen, how did you start in customer service?
By mistake.
Okay, great. Fantastic. And we're moving on.
I was at college and I did this social care diploma BTEC thing. And I wanted to go into nursing.
Can I pause you there for a second?
Yes.
Just for cultural clarification, when you say college, what do you mean?
I don't know how to describe it.
Like, it's not high school, right? You finished high school.
No, I finished high school. I've also gone to a sixth form college where I dossed about for a year with my friend Emma. Oh, we were in this, it was a new scheme for people that who didn't want to do A-levels. And it was a new thing that they were trying to get other people to go to this sixth form college. And was
it a separate college?
It was a separate
building,
No,
entity?
Same building, but we were always in the same room. It was dedicated to this course.
Okay.
And we did various things, but honestly,
You just stuffed around.
it wasn't worth the paper it was written on at the end of the day. And we had a great year.
Alrighty.
Then we both went to Chichester College, and we both were doing the same course for like social care, and actually I really enjoyed that course. I'm not very good at my English and my writing and my essays, so university would have been out of the question, and I wanted to be a nurse, but I don't actually know whether I would have got in if I'd applied. Like, I don't know. That was just my dream.
Academically, that's
yes,
what you were thinking?
Definitely academically. I wasn't the sharpest tool in the box.
As a reference, I think you would have been a fantastic nurse.
Yeah, well, I think I would have been too, but you need the education before you can go into it.
Yeah. Can't just get through on personality.
No, you can't. Have a good bedside manner. You need a little bit more. So when I finished that, I was like, shit, I've got to get a job, and applied for various jobs, and I got my first I got a job at the airport at Gatwick for the tie rack, who I worked for many years, and that's where I met Judy. So I completely got into it by accident. It was just a retail job, and then some things happened within the company, and they opened up another couple of units, and the people that were managing had left or got promoted, and they needed people to look after the stores, and Judy and I had been there at that stage the longest, and they gave this opportunity to us.
Right.
And honestly, we learned, well, especially for me, we were just learning on our feet because we were kind of thrown in and given this new role.
Of management?
That
was your first management role?
Yeah, yes. And then, I just continued with my management in whatever I did next. But I was there for a good 7 years. Me and Judy were there for ages, like forever. And I also worked in London for them, and, like various spots in London. So I guess that was my initial introduction to retail. Before that, I'd worked in a pizza restaurant. And
how old were you then?
When I was in high school, that was me and Kerry. And then I'd worked in we called it a corner store, but like a local convenience store.
Right.
With Emma for a bit and stuff like that. So those are the sort of things.
The same Emma from the
same Emma from school, yeah. So I always pick people to work with, so it would be fun. But yeah, so that was my first introduction to management, and then moved to it was a children's clothing store. And then when I moved from the children's clothing store, I went back to the airport because I missed the airport. So I moved to Brighton to have a change of scenery and work somewhere else.
Right.
Still in management. It was a shithole of a children's clothing store that they just dumped everything on, and they wanted me to turn it around, and it was a huge lot of work for not much reward. I wasn't really being taught much. I was just working my ass off.
Kind of just being, because Brighton's south, right? On the coast?
On the coast,
so kind of just shoved down at the bottom of the country and said, here, we'll
and
leave you
the
alone,
store
deal
was
with
struggling,
this,
and
make it
they
worth
threw
something.
all of the old shit down there, and we had to sell it. And anyway, then I got the job at Planet Hollywood, managing the merchandise store, and then from there, Manchester, and that's when I got into coffee and cafes.
Okay. For anybody else, can you explain what Planet Hollywood is? Because you've told me this before, and I had absolutely no idea what Planet Hollywood was.
So Planet Hollywood, well, there isn't very many of them left, if there is any of them left now.
I think there's one left in New York because I walked past one once before and I saw a sign for Planet Hollywood.
Oh,
And I was
okay.
like, is that the place that Helen used to work? And I didn't take a picture because I was walking past to meet somebody and I just thought and walked.
They were quite a big chain of restaurants. There was somebody like I've forgotten the name, Robert Earl, I think his name was, but he was behind it, and then he got the celebrity faces from movies to like front it for him. So it was like a movie thing, like Bruce Willis,
Right.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, forgotten the other one's name, Sylvester Stallone.
Sylvester Stallone.
All kind of fronted it a bit, and it would just be movie clips, TVs. It was a bit
Like memorabilia as
yes.
well? Okay.
So a bit like the Hard Rock Cafe. You could get sweatshirts from wherever you went around the world.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
So Hard Rock Cafe, but in movie and
Yes.
film
Yes.
rather
That's
than
exactly
music.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Same sort of food, same sort of vibe in the restaurants.
Right.
But very popular.
Okay.
And sometimes you'd see famous people in there if you were in London. But yeah, that's where I worked.
And that's how you got from the customer service industry into the hospitality industry.
Well, I was still in the merchandise bit.
Oh, okay.
I did
So
it-
is that how you kind of like ease from one? Because they are very different industries to go from retail into hospitality.
Well, see, when I was working in the retail Planet Hollywood, then you would go into the restaurant. You'd see a bit how it ran, and did a little bit of expo once. But then when we moved to Manchester, this opportunity came up in a coffee shop, and I'm like, okay, let me give this a go. Now they hired me because of my experience in customer service, not because of my experience
in hospitality, which was pretty zero by that point. Okay.
But then I got hired and trained by Danny and Lauren, two amazing people. And that was the area manager who taught me the most. Mm-hmm. The guy that we used to call the Silver Fox, who was a bit of an asshole sometimes. But he taught me the most, and then it's just gone on from there.
For previous references, if you ever listened to the hiring and firing episode that we did, I think that's when you introduced the Silver Fox.
Yeah.
Because he gave you a couple of tips on how to be basically a good manager and what that looks like.
Oh, yeah, he knew what he was talking about, even if he was sometimes a bit of a
dick.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. That's my story of how I'm in it.
And you went from one thing to the next.
Yeah, so
much like anybody does in hospitality. You
exactly
go from one thing to the next.
And then they got bought out by Starbucks.
And then that's how you worked in Starbucks.
Yeah.
Well, my introduction to hospitality started when I was 12. My mother purchased a restaurant where I lived. Previous to that, my mum, my sister, and one of my brothers worked in a restaurant like an hour or two, or hour and a bit away. Now, I'll have to have a conversation with my sister about this because all I remember is that the three of them worked in the evenings. It was usually just then by that point, me and my dad, because my other brother had left home by that point. And then the only other thing I remember is that the chef used to throw plates.
Oh, dear.
When they worked there, because that's the story that my mum used to tell when she came home. She was some Russian lady, and that was just how she expressed her anger. She used to throw plates. So, yeah, I'll have to ask my sister more about that experience.
Yeah.
But so that was the only background that my mum had on cooking, and she just always wanted to own a restaurant. And so this one came up for sale, I guess, and she bought it. Had absolutely no idea what she was doing, and her manager was Steph, and Steph was the saving grace for my mum. Basically taught my mum everything she needed to know as well on running a restaurant. And so for that particular one, it was a little bit different back in the day. This cafe was a cafe in the daytime. So we opened, I think, from
you
like
said that
9
before,
till 3.
and then turned into a...
And then mum came home for 2 hours. That's when mum and I she came home. I got off the school bus. We had about half an hour to watch Emmerdale on Channel 1. And then my mum would go to work. And she'd do the evening shift. And then that was when it turned into a restaurant.
Dining, yeah.
And basically it was when the last person left, they closed up shop and came home. So, yeah, that was my first introduction into the hospitality world. There was a point that my older siblings were doing their own life at the time. And so as a 12-year-old, I was kind of just sitting at home and waiting for my dad to come home from work. And then he worked just around the corner from when my mum's restaurant was. So he'd finish work and then go and stay with my mum, and then sometimes he'd get busy, so then he'd stay and wash the dishes, and then I'd just be hanging out by myself.
Oh, I remember them saying to you, your mum saying to you, well, if you're going to be here, you might as well do something.
Yeah,
And
so I ended up taking my homework
Mm-hmm.
into the cafe or into the restaurant with my mum. She'd leave at 4:30 to go in to get ready for 5 when they opened. I'd sit there, do my homework, and then Dad would finish work, come down, and we'd have dinner there because there ended up being this time and space to actually see my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a point where Steph actually said, because I kind of got in the way, and she said to me, Jo, you either need to get out of the kitchen or you need to put yourself to use.
Yeah.
So my mum was like, well, do you want to put yourself to use? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I was the dishwasher for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the weekends got busier, my mum needed a second hand. And so I just worked in the kitchen with her.
Mm-hmm.
And mostly it was in the weekends, so Saturdays. We didn't open on a Sunday, so it was Fridays and Saturdays. And occasionally on the weekday when she had a big party in. But I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot from my mum and in that environment. I think the pride and joy of it was my mum used to have Polytech students come in. So you were talking about college before. So in New Zealand, college is also high school.
Right.
So when we say college, someone's just going to high school, and that's our version of college.
Polytechnics.
Polytech is like your version of college or even Canada's version of college. So it's usually a lot of the tradies will go to Polytech.
I've heard that word before, so.
Yeah. So that's where if you'll be a nurse or an architect or a plumber or a builder, you'll go through the Polytech system.
Yeah.
And it's no lesser or more than university. It's just a different trade.
Yep.
And so the Polytech students would be the chef students, and they would come and work at my mum's restaurant. And I remember as like a 14-year-old kid, my mum said to me once, she's like, Jo, you're better than the Polytech students. And my little 14-year-old self was like, yeah, get in there. So anyway, I moved. We sold that when I was 15. That was the time when my dad also passed away. Nevertheless, we sold the restaurant. My mum and I moved, and I kind of just carried on with high school by that point. And it wasn't until I was 21, I think, I had done a whole bunch of bumming around, not really sure what I was doing with my life, working in the kiwi fruit pack house, which we talked about in other episode. And I had gone overseas, done my overseas experience, spent money I didn't have, wasn't in the greatest headspace, ruined some friendships. Like it just was a bit of a shit show. I came back and I was broke.
Is this when you went in with your $10?
Yeah.
And got your job?
Yeah.
That's
so I was
perfect story.
21. I was living in my mum's friend's house for very cheap rent. And I was coming home one Sunday with the last bit of gas in my car with my $10 in my pocket. And there was a bakery on the side of the road. And I just kind of felt in my soul to go knock on the bakery's door and spend your last $10. And I was like, okay. And so I went in and I was poorly dressed, let me say. For somebody that you might think was down on their last dime with $10 left in her pocket, that was me, and that was how I was dressed. And so I went into this bakery and I asked for a job. Oh, actually, no. I thought to myself, if the older lady at the back of the place serves me rather than this young person that's currently at the till and I've only got two people in front of me, then I'll ask for a job. And the younger person served the two people in front of me, walked off, and then the older lady came forward and served me. And so I was like, is there a job going? They're like, actually, yes, there is. Thankfully, the people there didn't look at my appearance and said, what's your experience? I said I'd worked in the restaurant with my mum, and they were like, okay, well, come back on this day and you can have your first day and we'll see how we go. So I made sandwiches for them. And after a couple of weeks, my boss said to me, do you want to learn how to do the baking? I was like, yeah, sure. So I eventually did my baking apprenticeship at that outfit, became a certified baker, did all of my paperwork. Apprenticeships are very different in New Zealand than what they are here. So basically I did everything by correspondence, so paperwork at home, and then basically I had to rack up so many hours of working on site. Best option ever, because I was educated, I worked, I got paid, and then after that I had an education and I had no student loan because I paid for everything while I was working. Yeah. So 3 years later, I knew how to make breads and pastries and all the delightful things that you can think of when you think baker. Ooh. So basically ever since then, I have worked in a kitchen of some sort. That's my story.
Which does move us on to another subject, but we we want to move on to our who does that and stuff. But we are going to be talking about your new venture at some point.
At some point, yeah. Very briefly, I'll mention the new venture, which was already pre-planned, pre-podcast.
It's a new thing for our listeners, not for us.
Yeah. New Zealand and Australia are very well known within their own countries for pies. And when I say pies to a North American continent person, they think big family pies with sweet things in it. I don't mean that. Think handheld size meat pie. It is the most delicious, on-the-go, quick, hot something that you can scoff your face on. It's delicious. I'm bringing those to Canada. There's already some in Canada, but I'm going to do my own venture and
bring some more.
Yeah. As we progress in our episodes that we create, you might hear a little bit more about how that's flourishing. For the moment, everything's just in the pipelines, but it is at the beginning processes of.
But you did bring your tie-pins.
The last of my pythons. Yes. Or as Helen just said them.
Oh, tie-pins. That's where I used to work. They used to sell tie-pins there. But I meant pie-tins. I love it when I switch words around. It's so funny. But yes.
Oh, dear.
So, yeah, we'll talk about pies as you get going.
Proceeds.
Yes. Can't wait to test
I will bring my baking history to the forefront again.
That's good. I'm glad about that. All right. I need to get my words in order here.
Okay. Maybe a cup of tea will help. We'll be back.
I got a tiny bit left.
And we're back. Alrighty. We're ready for
Who Does That?
Or Why Would You Do That?
Yes. You're first.
Okay. So my Who Does That is courtesy of my friend Larissa's sister.
Okay. I've met Larissa, but not her.
It's a twofold. It's a twofolder. She's telling me about it when I saw her in New Zealand. So Larissa's sister Ange works at a place that sells ice creams. And she had a customer ask her, excuse me, but what's the difference between a small ice cream and a large ice cream?
We've had that with the coffees.
Who does that? Who asks that kind of question? If you're genuinely wondering how many scoops of ice cream is in a small one or a large one, you say, how many scoops? But you don't ask, what's the difference between a small and a large? One's small, one's large.
Yeah, that's how I responded when somebody said, what's the difference between your small and your large coffee? And
one's small, one's large.
The one.
If you're asking for specific information, ask the specific question. How many shots of coffee are in a large latte?
Yeah.
That's what you want to know. That's what you ask. How many scoops of ice cream are in a large ice cream compared to a small ice cream?
Yeah.
That's what you want to know. That's what you ask. Not what's the difference between a small and a large.
One's smaller than the other.
And one costs more than the other.
Or you say, what's the difference in size between a small, like if you want to know the difference in size.
Be specific about your questions, people.
Also, I've handed over a small and a large drink and somebody has asked me which ones are small. I'm like, are you joking
Well,
right
that's
now?
like some tosspot saying which one's the hot one and which one's the ice
Which
drink.
one's the ice?
The one that's cold and the one that's hot. Alrighty, what's your who does that /
My
why would you do that?
Is toilet etiquette. Because why do people use toilets in restaurants or public places and think it's okay not to use the toilet the same way they would use it at home?
Okay, you might have to
For
expand on
example,
this.
just poo, really. It's poo, and it is wee a bit. But if you've got an upset stomach, which we've all had,
Right.
but when you were at home, you would contain it in your toilet
Sure.
and then make sure that afterwards that your toilet is clean and you've cleaned up your own splatters, as it were. That's disgusting. I hope no one's eaten dinner. But some people, when
if you
they
need to just pause what you're eating right now,
Yeah,
it's
'cause
probably
it's-
a
I'm
good suggestion to pause what you're
few more
eating.
poo things I'm going to talk about. So some people come into our cafe or previous places where I've worked and decide that I'm doing my business, but at the same time I'm going to come off the toilet maybe and do a downward dog near the wall.
Oh my
and
goodness.
how do you get poo on the wall? How does that happen?
I don't know, but I'm such a visual thinker. that I just had someone in my mind having an upset stomach and just having diarrhea and then doing a downward dog.
Even not an upset stomach, just... I don't understand. Are you doing pirouettes while it's happening? How are you, or like a sprinkler? How are you getting it on all surfaces in the bathroom?
Oh my goodness.
I have had 2 really nasty cleanups that I've had to do. I actually told the man he can't come back. It was the same man in each bathroom, and I know it because he came out of that one bathroom, and I'm like, for God's sake, dude. And I would never get anyone else to clean up what I had to clean up that day. I didn't feel very well from cleaning it up.
Oh my
And then
goodness.
the next minute...
On the same day?
On the same day, the other toilet, somebody came up and said is a mess. And I'm like, I can't be the same mess. And I walk in and sure enough, it's the same mess. And I know it's this guy. And he came in again a few days later and I took him to one side and I didn't want to embarrass him. You know, like things happen. And I just said to him, when you came in the other day, sir, you left a horrendous mess in that first bathroom. And then you did the same thing in the second bathroom. And I know it was you. I said, and I was the person that had to clean that up. Mm-hmm. And I said, so if you're not feeling very well today, I would like it if you didn't use, you know, like you can leave kind of thing. I'm not doing that again. Like, because afterwards I can't go home and shower. Mm-mm. I've kept myself as clean as possible, gloves, you know, but I came down and I washed myself like I was a surgeon in the sink.
Oh my goodness.
It was awful.
Gross.
Awful. What, you wouldn't do that at home and expect your wife or your family to come and clear up after you. I don't know how it happens. I don't know how that happens to that extreme.
I don't know.
I can't even imagine what's going on in that bathroom for that to be wherever it was. It was just... That's not the first time. The other funny story is you always need to lock the door when you're cleaning the bathroom. Because somebody that we work with, it was later in the evening, as when we used to open late, is cleaning the bathroom and is a good bathroom cleaner. You know, it's not just a little wipe. It's proper nitty gritty. Let's get down and clean this toilet bowl. Yeah. So somebody came rushing into the toilet, a guy who was so bursting for the toilet, he already had it out ready to aim into the bowl. And this person was eye level with it, cleaning the toilet. And they came running in to use the toilet and was like, oh. That makes me laugh so much. I can just imagine their faces.
Oh my goodness.
So lock the door when you're cleaning the toilet as well, if you are a person that has to clean the toilet. But yeah, just think about it before you pee on the floor. Also, if you're doing an ordinary toilet, I found one on the floor before. What? So then I've gone into the
Someone's
toilet.
Just gone and pooed all over the floor?
Just like a normal, not an upset tummy poo, just a normal poo on the floor. So then you can hear me from inside talking to someone else's poo. I'm like, what the hell are you doing there? Like, how did you get there? What is happening?
Excuse me, miss. I just walked out of the toilet. I just thought I wasn't going to try and be wet today. I thought I'd just make myself home here on the tiles. Do you have a problem with that, miss?
Oh, people in the other washroom must have been like, what is she talking about? I'm ranting. Like, who does that? Who just poos on the floor?
Oh, my goodness.
Anyway, that's enough of the poo stories. I'm so sorry if I've put you off your food, but just treat your toilet like it's your own, whatever toilet you go into.
And if you do that kind of behaviour in your bathroom at home, then don't treat a public toilet as your own. Treat it like the Queen lives there instead. Maybe have that mentality.
I am the Queen. Don't mess up my bathrooms.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, I've got a good Milo question of the week.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Let's transition from poo. Yes.
Yeah, let's move on from poo.
Yeah, because I just have my own poo experience stuck in my mind and it was really terrible, so let's just move.
Okay. You know what? We started at the beginning getting all like melancholy about leaving home and all that business, and now we've just moved straight on to poo. It's a great podcast. Milo's question of the week.
Okay.
If you were a musical instrument, what musical instrument would you be?
Okay. So I'm
you weren't
curious
here for this, yeah. So
because you mentioned this very briefly when we had our last break.
Yeah.
About Milo was going off about this particular question.
Oh, he loved it. We talked about everybody.
Yeah. So I think you need to go first because then you also said you've got one for me.
Well, you said you didn't know.
Yeah.
I was the one that picked this for you, so
okay.
Don't get mad with anybody else.
Okay. So what did you pick for yourself? Let's do that first.
I didn't pick myself. Somebody picked for me.
Oh, what did they say then?
Piano.
Oh.
because piano can be ding, 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 really nice. And then a piano can be really. I picked a cymbal for you.
A cymbal?
Yeah.
Why? Because I can make a lot of noise.
Well, because a cymbal it's in most things, in most music, even in the background, like tick, 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 tick. It's just constant little bit of cymbal. And then all of a sudden, the cymbal can get louder and louder. And there's normally a big cymbal at the end of something. So if there's something to be said and you need to say it, it'll just be the end. And you're like, okay, that's fair. But most of the time, it's just there tinkering along before it gets hungry or... So you were a cymbal.
That's the most fascinating musical description of myself that I'd never have picked previously.
We picked didgeridoo for Milo. He's just in the background always going... There's always Milo chatting and asking questions in the background.
That's not a didgeridoo.
It is. Didgeridoo's that long thing.
Yeah, no. Let me explain what my outrage of that's not a didgeridoo is. A didgeridoo is not in the background. A didgeridoo is up front. Everybody's looking at it thinking, well, what the actual heck is that?
What I mean is it's just always there. Just keeps on going and going and going. That noise.
My description of a didgeridoo just then I think is more of an apt of Milo of like, what the heck is that? How is it making, how are you, what, how does that work? How does that come out of that?
I guess that's true too.
Yeah.
Or we also said he was an accordion.
Okay. That would work. No, I would not have put myself as a cymbal, which is funny because I wouldn't have picked you as a piano either. I probably would have thought a trumpet for you. Also because a trumpet, put it in any jazz melody or blues and it just has like such a great array of melody and it brings so much life to a piece. But then also when it's got its own solo piece, whew, you want to listen. But then also that can make some noise, but then there's also a great harmony to it as well.
Yeah,
so
which I guess is the same for most of these instruments. But yeah, what would you put yourself at if you'd rather not be a cymbal?
It took me a while to kind of think, but I'm going to settle on this maybe. But a cello.
Right.
A cello is probably what I would have picked for myself. It's a bassier kind of string instrument, but also it's got the beauty of a string instrument.
Does. Yes.
But it's still that low bassy.
Yeah. He picked a tambourine for Amanda, and Amanda was not impressed with tambourine. She said, I'd want to be anything but a tambourine. I said she was a flute.
Oh, yes. I think she also plays the flute.
Oh, well, there you are.
I'm going to have to ask her.
And for Jeremy, sorry, I said you were a triangle. Bing, 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 bing.
Honestly, a triangle and a tambourine are some of the worst things.
But no, a triangle, he just chimes in with information all the time and it's just like, ding, ding, ding. I got this for you. Ding, ding, ding.
I suppose, yeah.
I got this for you.
Yeah, that's a good example.
Everyone thought that the triangle was good for Jeremy. So.
When you put the example with it, yes. My nephew had to learn an instrument for school at one point. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, I'm going to choose the triangle. Basically to get out of band because he was like, it was the easiest thing to learn.
Oh my God. If somebody had called me a recorder, I think I would have left because those are the most annoying things if you get called a recorder.
Do you know what? I used to be able to play the recorder really well. Like
it still doesn't matter, that noise. And the piccolo, the even smaller.
The small one. I used to play that too. I used to be able to play that really well.
Okay. Ready?
Well, that's our descriptions of us as a musical instrument.
Yeah.
It would be really fascinating as listeners what you guys would peg us as musical instruments.
They might pick us as me as a recorder because I might be or maracas. Or what are those things? Castanets.
I don't know.
Because they're just like the same noise over and over and over.
Oh, they're like the spoons.
The Spanish.
With the...
that's what Ren said she was. Ren said she was the spoons.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
It sounds like everybody was having a great time.
It was
over the
a great
weekend.
one. It was a great. Everyone was getting involved. So that was
on the weekend.
It must have been on Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I missed out on that conversation and I got tail end of it today. So that's us.
That's us.
If you would like to get in touch with us and let us know what you think we would be as musical instruments, you can do so by reaching out to us via email. That's pod, P-O-D. Apparently I have to spell it now again. Dot and another thing at gmail.com. I nearly forgot that. Oh my goodness. You can always also find us on Instagram. It's And Another Thing Podcast. And for the moment, that's us. Have a great week. And
have a good idea.
Have a good idea.